All right, let's get into it. Most of us think of web design as just a bunch of technical stuff, right? Code, graphics, pushing things live. But what if we looked at it in a totally different way? What if building a website was less like engineering and more like, well, a kind of modern magic? That's what we're going to explore here. Web design as this sacred craft, a ritual for summoning a digital presence into the world.
And this quote really just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly sets the stage for what we're talking about. See, it's not just about making things look good, it's alchemy. It's about taking these abstract ideas, these business goals and user needs, and transforming them into something real, something you can interact with, and yes, something that feels almost magical.
You know, every great website, really every great anything, starts from a place of chaos. You've got this messy jumble of ideas, random sketches, notes, user feedback. It's all over the place. The designer's job? It's to be the sorcerer who takes all these scattered pieces and binds them together, giving them a real form and a clear purpose. And this right here is so important. Think of all your tools. Wireframes, prototypes, brand guides, that's your spellbook. But here's the thing, anyone can own a spellbook. The real magic, the actual alchemy, that happens in the ritual. It's about the process, the intention, and the care you bring to using those tools. So what are the essential ingredients for this big ritual? Well, turns out there are 5 fundamental elements you have to get right. Think of them like these primal forces you need to channel. You've got purpose, usability, aesthetics, performance, and adaptability. When you get all 5 of these lined up just right, you don't just have a website, you have an experience. Okay, so let's start the ritual. Before you even think about drawing a single pixel or writing one line of code, you have to perform the first 2 steps. Figuring out the website's soul, its very essence, and then building the structure that's going to house it. This is the question you have to start with. What is your brand's soul? I mean, what's that one single emotion you want somebody to feel the second they land on your page? Is it trust? Is it excitement? Maybe a sense of calm and order? Whatever that answer is, that becomes your North Star. It's going to guide every single design decision you make from here on out. And that leads us right into the user experience, or UX. And you've really got 2 choices here. Are you building what feels like a sacred path, something that guides your user intuitively and rhythmically toward their goal? Or are you accidentally trapping them in a confusing maze? One feels amazing, the other is just frustrating and makes people leave. The choice is yours.
Now, as we build that sacred path, we have to weave in something called the sigil of inclusivity. And what is that? It's accessibility. And look, this isn't just some technical thing you check off a list. It's a powerful symbol you build right into your design. It's a moral and creative responsibility that says your digital space is open and welcoming to everyone, no matter their ability.
So what do these sigils actually look like in practice? Well, they're things you already know about. There's stuff like descriptive alt text for images, which lets screen readers see them. It's making sure someone can navigate your site clearly using just their keyboard. And it's using high color contrast so that text is actually readable for everybody. Each one of these things expands your website's magic circle. All right, we've got our foundation in place. Now it's time for the third ritual, weaving the visual spell. This is where we dive into the aesthetics of enchantment, using color, fonts, and images to really captivate the user and show them what our brand's all about. Think about it this way. Each aesthetic choice is a magical symbol, and each one has a job to do. Color is all about evoking emotion. Think passion with red or trust with blue. Typography, that's your brand's voice. Is it bold and modern, or maybe more elegant and traditional? And imagery, that's what breathes life into the whole thing. The trick is making them all work together in perfect harmony. But, and this is a huge but, here's a critical warning. A design that looks absolutely stunning but is impossible to actually use, that's a spell that has gone horribly wrong. The whole point is enchantment, not confusion. Functionality is that invisible but incredibly powerful thread that holds the entire ritual together, making sure all that beauty actually serves a purpose. Okay, now our ritual is going to shift a little into the more technical side of things. It's time to invoke the responsive spirits, the magic that makes sure your creation is fluid, it's fast, and it can adapt to pretty much any environment it finds itself in. I mean, think about it. In today's world, someone could be looking at your website on a giant desktop monitor, and then 5 minutes later on a tiny little phone screen. Your design can't be rigid. It has to be a shapeshifter.
And that's exactly what responsive design is. It's the spell that makes sure your site keeps its magic and stays usable no matter what device it's on. And let's talk for a second about speed. Performance isn't just a nice feature to have, it's a sacred offering. Every single image you compress, every bit of code you optimize, it all adds up to a faster loading site. And that speed, it's a gift of respect to your users' time. And it's also something the gods of search, like Google, really appreciate. Okay, so our creation is beautiful, it's functional, and it's fast. So now what? Well, the fifth ritual is all about making sure people can actually find it. We've got to learn how to speak to the oracles of search, and then we have to put our work through one final crucial trial. Let's call this meta magic. Think about your page's meta title and description. Those little bits of text you see on a Google search page. They aren't just descriptions, they're incantations. They're the carefully chosen words that call out across the internet to attract the exact right audience to your site.
And before you unleash your creation on the world, it has to face a trial by fire. You have got to test everything. Every single link, every button, every form on every device you can think of. But the most important test? Getting feedback from real users. That's the final polish that can take a site from great to truly perfect.
But listen, the work doesn't just stop at launch. A magical website needs constant attention and care. So let's quickly talk about the common curses you absolutely need to banish, and how you can keep that magic going in a kind of eternal circle of improvement. First up, and this one is huge, you have to banish the curse of overdesign. It is so tempting to just keep adding more stuff, more animations, more fonts, more little widgets, but simplicity is where the power is. All that clutter just fractures the spell and totally overwhelms your user. Second, you must banish the curse of ignoring spirits. What does that mean? It means neglecting your mobile users or completely forgetting about accessibility. A truly magical website has to be inclusive. The moment you ignore a whole segment of your audience, you break that sacred circle, and your site's power just fades. So that brings us to a really critical question that kind of gets to the heart of all this. After everything we've talked about, what's the single biggest mistake you can possibly make during this whole design ritual? And the answer really just perfectly sums up the most common curses. It's ignoring accessibility, which literally excludes people. It's cluttering the design, which just confuses people. And it's skipping user testing, which means you're just guessing if your spell even worked. Avoid these three things at all costs. In the end, summoning a great website is this beautiful mix of art and science, of pure creativity and careful precision. It's this ongoing ceremony of purpose, beauty, and adaptability. So now the tools and the rituals, they're yours. Your summoning circle is waiting. The only question left is, what will you create?